We're just going to keep going. There's no limit for us. We're building this, and this is going to be so Congrats, John.
The San Diego Padres not only clinched a playoff berth, they did it in a pretty memorable way, and they did it against the Dodgers. We'll talk about how they did it. I'm Jesse Goldberg-Strassler, voice of the Lansing Lugnuts. This is Crafting the Call.
And I'm Josh Suchon with the Albuquerque Isotopes. This is the ultimate, Jesse, where we get to blend. How do you do this? And how do you do that? And what happens when these two things come together in a legendary moment? This is what Crafting the Call is all about.
Shout out to Marty Caswell for the camera work right there, right?
Yes, my friend Marty Caswell, proud San Diego State alum, who's also got her own YouTube channel with outstanding work so that we can see the Padres celebrating inside their clubhouse.
Let's rewind a little bit. 9th inning. Padres have the lead. Dodgers are threatening. Ohtani's in the on-deck circle. Surely Shohei's coming up. After all, Josh, there's nobody out.
Rojas on the ground at third. Machado touches third, fires to second. Out at first. Oh, my goodness. It's a triple play. It ends the ball game. The San Diego Padres have clinched their spot in the postseason after a magical 2024 campaign. Will this finally be the year for the faithful? A triple play to end the game and send the Padres to the postseason. It doesn't get any better than that.
Don Orsillo on the call. Your thoughts?
There's so much going on with this call. You've got the potential of going to the postseason, which you knew from the moment you woke up in the morning till you started the broadcast. You have, there's runners on base. There's nobody out, and Shohei Ohtani is at the plate. And now all of a sudden you have a triple play in which so many things happen in such a short amount of time, and there's so many words and names and emotions and shock. And I think this is Don Orsillo broadcasting the way that Don always does, which is just, oh my goodness, I'm just going to keep talking and these words are going to come out of my mouth. And my enthusiasm for the moment is going to take over, even if it's not the smoothest, silkiest call ever. It's just Don with his emotions. Wow.
Did things get scripted? Did Don suddenly pull up a script out of nowhere and start reading? Will this be the season? It seemed to my mind that things went from absolutely shocked to, all right, let's talk about the Padres going into the postseason, and then right back into a triple play.
It did seem like there was a to the description. Will this be the season? I don't know if that was words would come to my mind in that moment, but will this be the season for the faithful? I feel like that's something I would say on opening day after a victory number 1 on opening day.
And the way
or maybe on the pregame show to start the playoffs.
Yeah.
Would be the time for that.
You've just turned a triple play. You're in. You're going to go to the postseason. You and I have broken down postseason calls very recently. And the idea of taking a breath, hit this, take a breath, hit this. There's no breath for Don Orsillo. The breath will come later. The breath is going to come tomorrow because we got things to talk about right now. Because everything is coming out of his mouth, because he's so excited and ready to share all of this with you, I feel like it jumbles together a little bit. And I do feel like there is that moment where it feels practiced that he is going to say this right now. But I do think that he was on the triple play call.
I want to listen to it again because it happens so fast. I want to listen to this again to hear exactly the U-turn that happens.
Rojas on the ground at third. Machado touches third, fires to second. Out at first. Oh, my goodness. It's a triple play. It ends the ball game. The San Diego Padres have clinched their spot in the postseason after a magical 2024 campaign. Will this finally be the year for the faithful? A triple play to end the game and send the Padres to the postseason. It doesn't get any better than that.
The call of the triple play is really good, right?
Yes, he's right on each base. He's right on third. He's right on second. He gets to first. That is hard to nail each of those three right as they're happening.
Absolutely. And like, he just a triple play, right? Which is what you're feeling as a fan. The, oh no, Shohei Ohtani is up next to a triple play.
The Padres are heading to the postseason. Will this finally be the...
I'd be curious to know from Don whether or not he did, whether he was thinking about it or not. Like whether, right? I mean, there's like full on script, and then there's like things that maybe you start to think about. But there's also a sense, Jesse, the more that I overly analyze this, which is what we do here on Crafting the Call, is you didn't have to face Ohtani with the game on the line. You turned a triple play to end the game, to punch your tickets to the postseason. Is this a sign? Is this a sign that this will be the year for the Padres? That these things will just happen? That last year it was supposed to happen and it didn't. And now this year there was a lot of doubts, but there was still a lot of belief. And there's 6 teams that make the playoffs. And you still had Manny Machado. You still had this great staff of players, but you also had all these injuries. Anyways, that type of triple play maybe makes you think, will this be the year?
Imagine if a broadcaster, before the triple play ever happened, had said, what if they turned a triple play right here? That would be pretty amazing, wouldn't that?
Yes, it would.
Hernandez at first, Edman at second, nobody out for Miguel Rojas. And Ohtani will be on deck. Best case scenario, obviously, would be Miguel Rojas somehow hits into a triple play. 0-1. Swinging away, ground ball to Machado. He hits third, that's one. Goes to second in time, on to first, a triple play! And the ball game is over! The Padres clinch a postseason berth on a 5-4-3 triple play. Manny Machado starting an around-the-horn triple play to clinch a playoff berth. And the Padres are going to party at Dodger Stadium tonight.
Talk about a Hollywood call. Jesse Agler, take a bow.
The man previewed it, just like any good movie. Here's your preview. All right, let's get to the main event. Grab your popcorn. Jesse Agler did what I do, what a number of other broadcasters do, which is when things get enormous, crying out loud, slow down, right? He slows down so much just to allow himself to wrap his head around this moment. Okay, 5-4-3. The Padres are going to the postseason. Instead of Don Orsillo, who stays going as fast as possible, Orsillo's still in the fast lane on the highway the entire time because he can drive that fast while still getting everything out. Jesse is just going to ratchet it down just to make sure he can get out all the necessary words and understand what is important right here. Triple play. We're going to the playoffs. We turn the triple play in LA. This is a Hollywood ending. Like, we're going to party right here in Los Angeles, which, spoiler alert, they do. They have a gigantic party. There's already thoughts, is this going to go up, on the board for the Dodgers and give the Dodgers motivation come the postseason because the Padres let it all hang out? This is, to my mind, the more natural broadcast call of, whoa, he has to say a triple play twice, Josh, to truly understand this.
Try to give analogies for your voice with different aspects of life. And you mentioned the fast lane. You're driving in the fast lane and you see up above that there's some cars slowing down. You have 2 choices as a driver. You can take your foot off the gas and just let the car naturally, slowly start to slow down. Or you can slam on the brakes. Jesse, on this call, he takes his foot off the gas, right? The car is still going fast, but he is...
I disagree.
You think he's slamming on the brakes?
I think I think the difference between slamming on the brakes and take his foot on the gas, and I'd love to hear your responses to why you say that. I say that because he's talking and slowing down at the same time. And I think when you take your foot off the gas but don't slam on the brakes, you're allowing the car to slow while not talking. And then when you come back, you're a little bit slower. I hear Jesse slowing himself down as he's talking.
I hate it when you're right. Regardless of exactly like brakes and all that, it's the matter of how do you slow yourself down. And I think it comes down to what works best for you and your voice and how much you were already up here, right? Sometimes you have to slam on the brakes to get yourself in control. And sometimes you can slow yourself down a little bit. I even think that saying the phrase 5, 4, 3 is a way of slowing yourself down while keeping the natural energy going that you have so that you can retain a little bit more control.
Yeah. Yeah.
But can we talk about the prediction?
Oh man, this is great. This is Skip Carey.
So I've worked with Steve Lyons a bunch, and I know that one of Steve's philosophies was that if you make a prediction and it's incorrect, no one remembers it. But when you make a prediction and it is correct, people will always remember it. And so it's a fun thing to do. You just can't do them too often. You have to be very selective in how often you do these predictions. And it's not even a prediction. It's just a manifestation is like the buzzword now. Oh, you just got to manifest it. Well, throw it out into the universe. You say, wouldn't that be something? And I just like this, like, wouldn't it be something if this happens? And sometimes when you throw that out into the universe, it plants the seed in your brain, Jesse, so that you can even just very briefly think, how would I describe a triple play if that did happen?
I wish that Jesse came back to what he said because I love how he set it up. He said best case scenario. Mm-hmm. That's a brilliant way of making a prediction because it's whimsical. Mm-hmm. First and second, nobody out. Ohtani's on deck. They might even bunt here with the Rojas. And in fact, the Dodgers are asked, Dave Roberts is asked after the game, did you consider sacrificing? Best case scenario is he grounds into the triple play. So I would have loved if he's calling it to third, one, to second in time, over to first, triple play, and he shouted, best case scenario!
Well done, Jesse Agler. That was really good. That was super, super good.
You want to hear the Dodgers call?
Yes, of course I want to hear the Dodgers call. That's what we do on Crafting the Call. We take a signature moment in baseball history and we listen to how multiple people describe the same thing.
Let's go to the pride of Potterville, Joe Davis.
Smoke to third. Machado steps on the bag. They go all the way around and turn a triple play to end the game. Impossible. Incredible. And it's down to 2 in the National League West.
After replay review, all 3 out calls are confirmed. The game is over.
One of the most unfathomable finishes you will ever see. The San Diego Padres turn a triple play to finish the game.
So Joe's a little bit behind at the start of this. And I think he does a smart job of recovering by just saying they go around the horn. Because if he tries to get in, throw to second, that's 2. Throw to first, that's 3.
I thought that him using the word impossible. Imagine, Josh, if he hadn't followed it up with incredible. There's something about, he goes impossible, incredible. He comes back with unfathomable. And those 3, each of them says something very different. Incredible, I would argue, is neutral toward positive, where you go, look, man, throw your hands up. They just turned a triple play to win the game. Impossible is neutral toward negative. If you're the other broadcaster and you go, impossible, Joe, moments earlier, has described how Shohei Ohtani is absolutely coming up to home plate. And the only question is, how many runners are going to be on the bases and where those runners are going to be for Shohei? Because, he's already readying the next Ohtani walk-off, and he has used words like impossible and incredible with Ohtani before. So I would actually argue that the word that Joe gets to that describes his feeling right now the best is unfathomable, which I would encourage a broadcaster not to overuse, but to put that into their vocabulary. Joe couldn't fathom that this could happen. Joe had no concept in his mind that this was even potential, which is a great contrast with Jesse. Jesse has put out there into the ether, best case scenario, triple play. He's raised that. And now we're going to march forward. Joe Davis has not even considered the possibility that Miguel Rojas could ground into a triple play. What? He's not even going to fathom it.
A number of years ago in the offseason, I wanted to write down a list of adjectives to describe plays because I didn't want to get in the habit of always saying great. Everything isn't always great. And so I went from good, great, amazing, spectacular, unbelievable. But I also wanted some medium ones because, again, not every catch is great. It might be a fine running catch, right? It might be a superb running catch. Just with the idea that you always need to save something. You can't get too excited in the first inning. You have to save something for the ninth. Can't get too excited in April. You have to save something for September. And you can't get too excited in September because you have to save something for October. So you have to save these words. Use them when appropriate. A triple play to end the game, to send a team to the playoffs, that's when you can use these words. That's when you can use words like unfathomable. And I think this is a really smart word to use in the moment. And sometimes when things happen this fast, Jesse, it takes a while before your brain finds the right word because you're thinking impossible. And then the brain starts to go, wait, what is the word for this? And then you get to unfathomable. And I think that Joe does a really good job of calling this and then laying back. And then we even hear the lead is down to 2 because that's the thought next as a Dodger fan is now I would have liked for him to say the Padres are going to the playoffs, and maybe he did. I don't know the exact editing of this, but that's also the other part of it is the lead's down to 2 now.
It shows the difference in the priorities for the Padres and the Dodgers broadcasters. Padres broadcasters are like, we're to the playoffs. Will this be the year? This could be the year. Joe and the Dodgers, meanwhile, are going, they're coming back on us. They've trimmed the lead. It's not, the Padres have punched their postseason ticket. It's our division lead is down to 2.
Yeah, and all of that becomes part of how you want this to be characterized, right? And so it just becomes a really fascinating time of what words do you use? Like what's the priority? And oh no, right?
Let me go back to Jesse with an understanding from Joe. Joe says smoked to third. Yes, it totally was. That ball was hard hit. Manny Machado grabs it. So Joe now starts to use Machado's name. He needs to identify that third baseman. As he does so, I'm sorry, the ball's already at the second baseman. So Joe's on TV. He can catch up by saying they go all the way around. Jesse Agler's on the radio. He could lag and catch up a beat later if he makes the same choice as Joe. He doesn't. To third. And he's got Machado stepping on the back, and he says 1. This is something that I learned. I grew up listening to John Miller, double play, right? To second, 1 to first, 2, double play. You say that number. But now Jesse's in a bind because the throw goes into second base. Instead of saying 2, we've got some close plays coming. Third was easy. Second, Jesse changes it up. He says in time. He needs to get this out as quickly as possible because he needs to stay in time. There's a throw going to third base. And that, to my mind, is what is remarkable about Jesse's call and Don's call is the two of them are right on each of these 3 outs. And as Joe just showed you, that's hard. You try one little extra detail and you are past it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That phrase "in time" is good. That's a really good phrase because it accurately says what you need, and it's quick. And now you can get to the next detail about it. Here's the other thing about Jesse's call. So because he foreshadowed it, it makes it legendary. But even if you take away that best case scenario line to set it up, it's still a fabulous call. It's just, now I'm trying to think of other adjectives to use, right? I don't want to say it is the most spectacular call of all time. I kind of cringe a little bit when I do this myself, Jesse, of just saying that like the most perfect way, or you know what I mean? Because once you take a step back, you know, there probably was other times in the history of baseball when something happened like this that might top this.
Would you say that it could have been scripted for Hollywood?
We've had this discussion. We continue to use this discussion on whether or not the pros and cons of this Hollywood script. I think that when you're in Los Angeles, it's sort of natural to use Hollywood script. It kind of fits the moment.
I would have said instead of script, I think I would have gone with Hollywood ending.
Ooh, Hollywood ending.
Yes. And let me also add, for everyone out there looking for their own words, if you haven't tried to say sensational, use sensational. It's good. It's really good. I've also tried scintillating. It doesn't hit the same way. Sensational. It works, but you can find your own words. I love that Jesse went Hollywood with that final call because he placed it. Jesse in his call put it right there in LA against the hated Dodgers, and now they're going to celebrate. As Don is looking off to the postseason, I think that's why, to my mind, Jesse's call is not that we're rating them, but I appreciate the bigger picture of it. And now the Padres are going to celebrate here, which is exactly what they did.
It is really interesting to see where different broadcasters' mind goes after the play is ended. You got Joe Davis going to, this is what the lead is down to. You've got Don Orsillo, right? You've got Don Orsillo going to, will this be the year kind of thing. And Jesse Agler's just like, it's a party. It's a celebration time.
I love it. I love it. I want to know that a broadcaster has his pulse on the team. And that tells me that Jesse has his pulse on the team, all the while Don is thinking about the fans.
Okay, so you mentioned the fans, and I was just writing down what fans think. And I think that it's really, I try to think about what are people thinking about in the stands right now? And so sometimes what they're thinking about is, yeah, Shohei Ohtani's on deck. Sometimes they're thinking about, is he going to bat? What the strategy should be. Sometimes they're thinking about, okay, it's a party. It's a celebration. And in that moment, I don't know how many Dodger fans are thinking the lead is down to 2, but maybe there's some, right? Maybe there's some Dodger fans at the moment who are thinking, all right, we're pretty sure we're going to the postseason, but we really want to be the division winners because of seeding and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know if as soon as the out is made and you know that you're going to the postseason, if fans are thinking, is this going to be the year? I think you're just kind of in the moment. Let's just celebrate this moment right now. Let's just party and celebrate.
Josh, what if one of these broadcasters, and we didn't listen to the Dodgers radio call, what if a broadcaster did say triple play to end the game, and the game ends with Shohei Ohtani in the on-deck circle? Like, at some point you get to that, and Ohtani doesn't get his chance. I think that is foremost in the minds of the fans watching, whether you're a Padres fan or a Dodgers fan. Padres fan, the top priority is triple play, we're into the playoffs. But I do think that is paramount right here. We've got a guy who's got a 50-50 season going on.
Don Drysdale's call when Kirk Gibson homered off Dennis Eckersley. He has these really long pauses, and then at one point he come back and he says, and this time Mighty Casey did not strike out. Right? So I think there's something about that. I think that on TV, the more that we analyze this, I think would be great is you say the triple play, you say they're going to the postseason, and then when the camera pans to Ohtani in the on-deck circle, which the camera did not do, but if the camera pans to Ohtani and he has this look on his face like, I don't get to bat, then I think it becomes poetic of Ohtani is left on deck.
I mean, the director should be showing Ohtani during the Rojas plate appearance, right? Rojas walking up to home plate, Ohtani waiting to hit next. First and second, nobody out. Here's the pitch, strike one. Show Ohtani in the on-deck circle, right? This is a part of seeing the game in full.
It's not that often that the angle works at ballparks to be able to do this, but I love it when you can see the on-deck hitter behind the batter, when the angle works out, right? When it's the camera's on the first base dugout because it's a right-handed batter and it's angled such that you can see who's on deck, right? And then like some of the camera operators are really good where they can take the front is zoomed in and then they can zoom in on the background and you can kind of go back and forth with your camera that way. And I think that's just such a great image when you can kind of go back and forth. And I didn't see all the different angles of this leading up to it. We're just watching the final play. But I think that those are the super fun moments because baseball inherently is about anticipation. Football is about this is what's happening right now. Basketball is just constantly what is happening right now. And baseball is built on this slow build of drama of anticipation. Yes, the sport of baseball is not constant action. You have to wait. And so the anticipation builds for these moments. And then when you think the moment is in the on-deck circle, no, the moment was this triple play to end it.
As Yogi Berra said, expect the unexpected and vice versa. So Jesse Agler, here's to your anticipation. And Josh, thank you for thinking through with me and covering all of the angles of a triple play to punch a playoff ticket for the Padres in 2024. For Josh Suchon, voice of the Albuquerque Isotopes, I'm Jesse Goldberg-Strassler with the Lansing Lugnuts, and this is Crafting the Call.